Hello and welcome back to Candid Convos with Jona Dance. My name is Monique Jonas. I'm the founder of Jona Dance and your host for today's episode. Here at Candid Convos, I have the lovely pleasure of inviting wonderful guests to join me in conversation about pretty much anything and everything contemporary dance and the wider dance industry here in the UK. We already have 2 seasons readily available for you to check out. It's available on YouTube, it's available on Spotify, and I can now officially announce that we are also on Apple Podcast too. So if Apple Podcast is more of your vibe, then we have that already set up to go. So I am beyond excited on this bonus episode to bring the one and only, the icon himself, Sir Richard Alston. Hi, Richard.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
Thank you for joining. It's lovely to have you. I would love to start in the same way that I start all the rest of the Candid Convos, with you just giving a bit of an introduction about yourself. I'm sure most people already know who you are, but just, a little introduction would be great.
How to make it short, because I've been choreographing for so long. I left school when I was 16, and I was going to go to art college. I knew I wanted to be an artist.
Yep.
I thought I'd be a visual artist of some kind, and then I came to London and I suddenly saw dance performances.
Yes.
And I realised this was really what I wanted to do. So I trained there, trained at the place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started a small company, but then later on went to New York to study at the Cunningham studio and to see everything in New York. 75 to 77, the most wonderful years.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was a fantastic time then.
Do you remember some of the things that you saw while you were out there?
Yes.
Oh,
but,
can you tell us?
I was studying with Merce, so I used to go and see the company whenever it was in New York.
Yeah.
I had a very good friend, English guy, who was the archivist of the Cunningham Company, but he was also passionate about Balanchine, so he used to take me uptown to see Suzanne Farrell and Peter Martins. It was a really wonderful time when she'd just come back.
Oh my goodness.
I saw Trisha Brown, who I was completely bowled over by.
Yes.
Really, she's probably the biggest influence on me. When I was homesick, I'd go and see the Joffrey Ballet doing Ashton,
Yeah.
and I'd go to all these lofts everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere. I remember thinking in New York, as you were walking down the street or going in the subway, you would meet dancers all the time, fellow students.
Right.
And you thought, in this city, being a dancer is a normal profession. It was the most wonderful feeling.
Did that feel different to how it was in the UK? Because I know that you said it like feeling
yes,
normal.
Yes, because Manhattan was very contained, and so you did see people all the time. Whereas I remember when I came back to London, if there was somebody working out, for instance, in those days, there was a college out at Trent Park, all the way at the end of the Piccadilly line.
Yeah.
And it's changed now because the transport's changed. And when I came back, I wondered how I was going to see anyone because they all lived in different parts of London.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it was a little bit harder to stay connected, whereas in Manhattan it felt like it was a little bit more possible.
I found everything very easy in Manhattan. You got told so many things about being careful of this and careful of that.
Yeah.
I arrived terrified and thought I'd find it quite stressful. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
You could get ice cream at 3 a.m.
Ice cream at 3.
That got rid of my stress.
Right.
I lived down in the Lower East Village, and the Ukrainian community there. There were Puerto Rican drag queens. There were Hell's Angels. It was a wonderful mix. So I loved being there.
Oh my gosh.
And yes, it was a fantastic time.
Yeah, it sounds
So then I came back full of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to see my family. I came back full of excitement and fell into really suddenly making lots and lots of work.
Right.
I always say that I learnt to dance fast in New York. You couldn't really move slowly in New York. Everything was very, even then in the 70s.
Yeah, was that just the nature of what people were interested in New York?
Well, Merce also used very rapid steps.
Mm-hmm.
I had very good ballet teachers there. I gained confidence as a dancer. I never had a kind of urgent need to perform.
Ah, interesting.
I had an urgent need to make something.
What was it that allowed you to make that distinction between knowing that like you didn't have an urgent need to perform, but you had an urgent need to choreograph?
Well, I suppose you see, I had to face the fact that I started as a dancer. I started very late. I left art college at 18.
Right.
Put my pencil down, put on tights, and got on with it.
Yeah.
So right from the beginning, I was working with dancers who I could realistically acknowledge were better than me.
Right.
So I always looked at dancers as wonderful creatures, and I would do my best to tell them what to do and so on.
Yeah.
And then I also realized, especially even in my training, there were lots of opportunities then because the London Contemporary Dance School was just opening.
Yes.
My first year there was me and 11 women.
Just just you
that
in
was
the whole year?
school, yes.
Wow.
And they were just opening everything, and they moved into the building at the place.
Yeah.
And so they kept saying, does anyone want to make a piece? We're having a workshop. I go, oh, me. And then sometimes I'd make 2 or 3 for a program. There was so many opportunities.
Wow.
And then when there was a break,
Yeah.
I found myself being very grumpy and frustrated, whereas I loved taking class.
What was your favourite class to take at that time?
Well, the training at that time was basically Martha Graham, which was quite hard for my body. I had started late and I couldn't really sit on the floor and do things that you're supposed to in Graham technique.
Yeah.
So when Cunningham dancers arrived and said, no, you can stand up at the beginning, it was a yippee time.
Okay.
And in between then, I also took ballet classes. I just always found dance very exhilarating, and I realized that I was quick, I could pick things up. I didn't have enormous facility, but when I looked around at other people who had more facility, I would quietly think to myself, yes, but I'm on the music.
Oh, musicality is important. I mean,
and so that's where that started. That's been a passion for me, because you have to go with what you're good at.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess what you're good at and what you're genuinely really interested in.
Yeah, I've always loved music ever since I was about 6 years old.
Yeah.
Mostly classical music in those days. There wasn't much pop music, really.
I have a loose memory of, is it Billie Holiday?
Yes.
Being one of your favourites?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it about the Billie Holiday music that captivated you?
She was 1 in a million. She was fantastic. So I worked with National Youth Dance, the old one, before it became as
what it is
grand
today.
as it is now.
Yeah.
I'd found some Beethoven piano pieces which I thought were quite dancey. And I went into the studio and I looked at these young people, still at school age, and I could see that they were not excited.
Oh.
So I thought, okay, I'll try something tomorrow. So I came in the next day and I said, okay, let's look at the movement we made yesterday.
Right.
And they said, okay, let's go over it. I said, okay, now don't be worried about this. I'm going to put on different music. It's got the same sort of tempo, but let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I put on Tina Turner.
Did you?
And I made a whole dance. It was called Simply the Best, and it was a whole dance to tracks by Tina Turner.
Oh my goodness. How did the students respond once you changed the music?
They were much, much happier.
Were they? Oh my goodness. Would you still make a decision like that today if you went somewhere and you felt like the group you were working with didn't quite respond?
I would like to think so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
There are artists in all forms who thrive on tension and who make a situation where they feel that their creativity is released when they're anxious. I'm the opposite.
Right.
If I get stressful, I freeze.
Okay.
You danced for me.
Yes.
Wasn't I lucky? You know how much I always was trying to make sure that people laughed.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. A light atmosphere.
I needed people to be in a good mood around me. There are people who say you must never take yourself too seriously. You can take your work seriously.
Yeah.
And always working with dancers who were very responsive to humour. I didn't mind making a fool of myself sometimes, It kept things comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it was my way of communicating. That's one of the things I've always loved about dance.
Yes. Yeah.
Being in the studio with dancers. 60 years almost now. I'm still there. I love it.
Absolutely. And we still need you there to keep doing even more. I do have a quick question because I'm going to deep dive into some choreography stuff in a bit. Do you have a favourite memory or moment from your expansive career that springs to mind as this is a real core memory or a favourite moment for you?
I have many.
Yeah.
But in a way, sometimes the earliest ones are the most important. In the summer holidays, when I left school early, we lived up on the edge of Hampstead Heath, and I saw that the touring Royal Ballet Company was coming to Golders Green.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought I'll walk across and see what that's like. And there was an enormous long queue outside.
Wow.
So I went over and said, there's loads of you queuing here. And they said, oh, it's because Margot's dancing tonight, they said.
Wow. At
And
Margot
I
as
said,
in
"Oh,
Margot
you know,
Fontaine?
who?" And Fontaine and Uriah for doing Giselle that night
Wow.
in Golders Green. Can't explain to you why.
Yeah.
And I saw they were doing it on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I went all week to see this company.
Right.
But I went on the Thursday and I saw particularly Fontaine, who had a huge effect on me.
Yeah.
And at the end of Giselle that night, I was like in a complete hypnotic trance.
Wow. What was it about Margot Fontaine?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? Well, for a start, she was incredibly musical, always musical.
Yep.
She did have quite extraordinarily beautiful proportions.
Mm.
She had what I call judgment.
Oh.
She didn't hurl her leg up to the ceiling, apart from anything, she couldn't. But she put it always in the right place, and she had the most beautiful lines.
Right.
Meanwhile, she was also an incredibly thoughtful actress. You knew when she was Giselle that she was a young girl. You knew when she was in Swan Lake that she was trapped in something, and she had this incredibly beautiful and expressive face.
Yeah.
I've never forgotten her.
I think I'm always just fascinated by what intrigues people in dancers on stages, because we all notice slightly different things. So this is why I was like, if Margot Fontaine, well, not if, because you saw Margot Fontaine, I was like, what was it specifically about her? It's so great to hear, because I know I look for certain things, and you see sometimes there are things that you can't really put your finger on about a performer, but they have something that is really magnetic on stage.
Yes.
And I think you have quite a good eye for spotting that in dancers in the room. Like no matter which group, you seem to find these like details
I like doing that.
About dancers.
I love doing that. That's why I love working with young people. I love to see something exciting which isn't quite there yet, but you see.
Yes.
I don't want to be boast, but I'm very often right.
Yeah.
I see someone in like a youth group,
Yeah.
suddenly see them joining a profession and becoming extraordinary dancers.
Yeah.
And I think, oh yes, I spotted her.
Yes.
Or him.
Yeah, saw the seed of that a long time ago. Okay, I have many more questions for you. But before we doing that, I have a little section that I call this or that. So I'm going to give you two options, and I'm just going to ask you to pick one of the two options. Is that okay?
Yes.
So would you prefer to create a solo or create a duet?
Create a duet.
Oh, why?
I love making duets.
Yeah.
The basic excitement for me is that dance is a human activity and two humans become something really interesting.
Yeah.
Become something that's sculptural, three-dimensional,
Yeah.
that's emotional, that's about two people's relationship. It's just there. I've always loved making duets.
Yeah. When you create these duets, I think I'm particularly intrigued because I think I'm focusing on learning how to make duets now myself.
Right.
Because I'm very comfortable making large group pieces, but the detail that goes into duets, I want to explore more. Do you visualize kind of like what you imagine the two dancers to do first, or do you think of one dancer and then another dancer? Like, what is that process for you?
Okay. Well, you remember I make steps very fast.
Yes.
And I need to do that to get the buzz going. When I'm on choreographing on a good day,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on a tightrope. I feel like I'm on the high wire.
Ah.
And I'm almost high.
Okay. Oh.
But I am. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And so I move very, very fast. I always say to young people I work with, make something, you can throw it out the next day. That's the wonderful thing about dance.
True.
You're doing it, you can give it to your friends, you can give it to the dancers. The next day you can say, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
And you can change it. But as a result, weirdly, I hardly ever do. I never prepare movement for a rehearsal. I've never done that because I've realized that, creatively speaking, I'm an improviser. I have a very sure sense of rhythm, which is a wonderful thing to be given.
Yeah.
So a rhythmic phrase instantly just gives me a wonderful impetus to get moving. And what I do is I just put two people together, and sometimes I put them in a separate part of the space.
Right.
And then I do make material for one dancer, and then I say to the next one, okay, let's see what would go with that.
Yes.
And my name is Richard. Let's see what happens, Alston.
Oh, I love that.
Let's see what happens. I say that a million times.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's just try that. Let's see what happens. And it's instinctive, and I make little changes here, little changes there. And you know also that sometimes someone falls over, and I say, well, that's more interesting.
Yeah.
Or they go the wrong direction. I say, well, that looks better.
Yeah.
So there's a wonderful sense of dialogue. I don't ask people to make movement up for me because I'm very selfish and I love it too much.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't need anyone else to do it.
It's really insightful to be reminded of like the dialogue and also to allow yourself to make mistakes in choreography
Yes.
as well. So there's kind of like, let's see what happens and not being too precious about it.
Yes.
So it's a great reminder, actually.
Yes.
So would you prefer to live/work in the US or live/work in the UK? I only ask because I know that you've done both.
I love working in London in particular, and I love touring. Although now that I've stopped having a company, it's a great pleasure to be home.
Yes. Yeah.
I was always leaving to go places, which I enjoyed, and I loved meeting people, and I loved talking to audiences, and I loved seeing places, and I loved going abroad too. I loved the touring abroad. I loved seeing different audiences see my work. I loved going to hot countries where you could dance in the open air, under the stars.
Wow.
So it's hard to make a choice.
Okay. So somewhere in
They
between.
were all, I loved it all.
All right, we can have that as like a
Thank you very
in the
much.
middle.
I'm sorry, I'm cheating.
It's okay. In terms of like a technical rehearsal for a show, would you prefer one in the morning or one in the afternoon or evening?
Well, so when you're abroad, you have to have it in the evening in an outdoor theatre.
Oh yeah,
you
true.
have to start at 9 o'clock at night and work till 3 in the morning.
Whoa.
That has its own excitement.
Okay. I've never done that before.
No?
It's my first time hearing
When
about
I was
that.
with Ron Baby, we used to have to do that a lot, you know.
No
We used to do
way.
a British Council tour, and it was too hot in the day,
Wow.
and besides which they couldn't see the lights under the sunlight. So
Okay.
I'm not brilliant first thing in the morning, so I quite like it if I've got a marvellous technical director who says, "Look, leave me in the morning, Richard, I'll set it all up. You
Right.
come in the afternoon and I'll show you what's possible."
I think I know your answer to this next one from being in your company, but dancers to dance in socks or no socks?
The truth is I don't mind.
Really?
No, I don't mind.
Oh.
With bare feet,
Yeah.
you really get your weight down into the floor, and I use that a lot. But on the other hand, I'm not particularly interested in hurting people, and you know, you get dreadful splits and things, and so
Right.
especially when I'm now working with young people, I say, okay, so
Yeah.
do you need to wear socks? If you need to wear socks, but you need to be careful, it's slippery floors just as equally.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
That surprised
Yes.
me. I
Yeah.
think it's because I've always just known your work to be bare feet on stage and like the practice of working in barefoot. So I was like, I'm sure this is going to be like a no socks answer.
When I get older, you see, when I got older, because
Yeah.
I am older, my feet began to trouble me, and so then I would wear socks, or sometimes I even wear shoes.
Yeah.
These days, the range of footwear is so much more flexible,
Yeah.
if you forgive the pun,
Yes.
than when I started. You know, when shoes were great clumpy things, even trainers were. But then they invented all those jazz shoes with a separate heel and
That's
a separate sole, and there are all sorts of things you can wear now that you actually can move. And the first time I saw Twyla Tharp,
Yeah.
I went to Paris in 1970 with some students. We went together, and I saw Twyla's company, and there they all were in sneakers.
Really?
Yeah. And at
Oh.
that time, she was always in sneakers, and they
Oh,
did
wow.
incredibly fast and exciting and elaborate movement. It was just lifted the roof off my head. I loved it.
That's amazing. I think I've become so used to dancing bare feet that I find dancing in socks quite hard. And then with New Adventures, I had to get used to dancing in shoes often because we were very rarely barefoot. But as soon as there's a piece and someone's like, "You're barefoot," I'm very at home.
Okay.
I'm much more at home.
Okay.
Classical music to create to or something slightly more electronic?
Classical music, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it about the classical music that kind of lends itself to you creatively?
I started listening to classical music. My father had a good record collection, and so I started very, very young. And I would choose music. When I look back on it, I would choose music like particular Brandenburg concertos of Bach, which you could feel. I didn't know, but you could dance to it. Yes,
Right.
you could dance to it, and that's what excited me. It's what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
I like to work, as you know, with a broad range of music. So
That's
I've
true.
often worked with folk-based music or world music. I get a bit tired, really, of going to see sometimes some really wonderful dance performances, but the percussive beat is so simplistic.
Right.
It doesn't interest me. It
Okay.
doesn't engage me. And so it's musical phrases
Yeah.
that I love, and it's, it's so perverse that I should have gone and studied and really, really been very, very admiring of Merce Cunningham. But when I was there in New York, there was a wonderful pianist who used to play Broadway songs and all sorts of things. And whenever he taught, she was playing.
Yeah.
I was in seventh heaven. Then one day I stayed behind and said, is it okay if I watch the rehearsal?
Yeah.
I was outside where the desk was or whatever, and she said, they've started, you know. And I said, started? Well, can't hear anything. And I went and looked through the door, and then they were all moving in silence, and he had his stopwatch.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I so do not want to do that.
Oh, I see.
It's the phrasing, you know. I found, for instance, even when the music for Graham was very percussive, which was very exciting. It was and a one, and a two. And then when I was taking ballet classes, suddenly you had much more lyrical music and music that was incredibly pleasurable.
Yeah.
The first choreographer I really loved was Ashton. That's what I saw in London when I was still at art college. And he was so musical, and I still adore his work.
Yes.
So classical music is really, I think it's so rich. I love it when you see people do something completely unexpected to classical music.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, you know, just you should do nice lyrical steps to nice lyrical music. There are all sorts of exciting things you can do. But for me, the phrasing of instrumental or vocal music is a great inspiration.
In a dancer, technical ability or musicality?
Well, I love both.
I know. But
I
if you
love
had
both,
to
but
choose...
musicality is the most important thing.
Yes. Even just from dancing with you, like, of course, the technical ability was definitely needed, but the musical emphasis was very present.
Yes, and when people ask, which they do,
Yeah.
what do you look for when you audition?
Oh, yeah.
All those years, I used to say, I look for a special quality. I look for a special something. It could be someone's character that quite clearly expresses itself. I've always wanted to have companies that were not identical at all, that they were all different in their quality of moving, in their cultural background, whatever. All those things. I love the fact that working with dancers is working with humans.
Yes.
I never forget that. Now, that's a great excitement. So if I see someone who can't get their leg up as high as someone else, but there's something amazing with what they're doing, I will always go for that dancer and say to them, get your leg down.
Yeah. No, I think it's an amazing reminder for dancers, especially those coming out of schools now, to be like, yeah, like not everyone has like complete extensions. Up here, they might not be able to do, I don't know, triple pirouette or all of this type of stuff, but it doesn't mean that they don't have other qualities that are available to be used within the dance set and also valued as well. So I think that's...
Well, you know, I put my sort of school teacher hat on and say, I think there's too much emphasis now on what I call gymnastic dance.
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, there's such an emphasis on facility, on getting your leg up, on jumping enormously high. There are all sorts of qualities to movement, and there are all sorts of qualities to a human being. If you're listening to dancers, you get a sense of who's in a good mood that day and who isn't. You don't say, I'm not going to work with the people who are in a bad mood. You think, okay, how can I work with that? How can I make something? And there are dancers who actually move slowly. And then you think, how can I make that dancer move faster? That's an interesting challenge. That can be an inspiration. Again, have been over the years often asked, Mr. Alston, what do you do when you get stuck? So the honest thing is, I'm actually interested in so many things.
Yeah.
I never get stuck because I'm really interested in the music, and the music I find very inspiring. I'm really interested in the use of the space.
Yes.
I think of my use of space as quite architectural. I'm really interested in the relationship of dancers to each other.
Right.
I'm interested in the contact between dancers and each other. I'm always looking for what I call a considerate dancer. That's someone who looks after their partner. There are so many things going in my mind. I've never got to a moment where I'm sitting there with my head in my hands going, oh my God, what do I do?
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you've been choreographing across 60 years. I think there's something about your let's get on with it attitude that allows you to find inspiration and search for creativity in the room rather than wait for it to just come to you. Is that fair to say, would you say?
It's this thing, the same that I was saying earlier about the energy, about the buzz.
Yes.
If things go deadly, I just think, oh, God.
Yeah.
And I was always very influenced by the stories that I heard about Balanchine, who made dances very quickly. And if by any chance he got to a point where he didn't quite know what was happening, he'd send the dancers home.
Right.
He'd say, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yep.
I thought that was a wonderful freedom. The first dance I made when I was 18,
Yeah.
it took me 4 months
Oh, I
to
remember you saying.
make a quartet, which eventually was 4 minutes. I
Wow.
had 4 extremely patient and wonderful dancers, including Siobhan Davis. She was a student then. And they just looked at me and I'd look at the floor. And then someone came and saw a rehearsal and said, I like that bit. You ought to do more with that.
Yes.
And that was like a green light to me. Oh, is that what you do? And then I just learned more about myself and realizing that actually when I work quickly, I found it exciting. I'm not knocking it because there are different ways of making dance, but you know, very often where I used to work in the place, you would look through a studio window and you'd see someone sitting on the floor with their chin in their hand, thinking very thoughtful and working out some kind of concept.
Yeah.
And I love dancing so much. I love dance.
Yeah.
And I think dance is an extraordinary thing for human beings to do. And so that's enough for me to deal with.
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as an abstract choreographer at all. I think it's all about human beings.
Yep.
It's about music. It's often about all sorts of cultural backgrounds. You know that when I made a piece like Gypsy Mixed, which you danced in.
Yep.
I love it when there's a mixture of music that comes from different parts of the world. Human beings are central to what gets me going.
Yeah. It's a beautiful reminder. I mean, a lot of us studied your work. I think GCSE or A-level dance, I can't remember which one
both.
it is. How does it feel knowing that your work is like studied in the syllabuses?
I've always been interested in education. When I was at Rombe, there was a wonderful woman, Sarah Rubridge, who really made interesting ideas and engaged me in the sense of education. And when I went to the place, there was a fantastic man called Chris Thompson who was just like a genius.
Yeah.
And he's the one who masterminded the video of Overdrive, which was something new that had never been done before, where you could go from the studio to the same place on stage automatically.
And just
you
switch.
could see bits of choreography from different
angles.
Yeah. So I've always loved teaching. To me, it's one reason why I've been able to choreograph for 60 years.
Yeah.
Because there were times when there wasn't actually the opportunity to put a dance on stage.
Right.
But I would be asked to teach and I would just put all my energy into that.
How did you go about establishing yourself as a choreographer? So yes, you had your quartet that you made. I know you had Strider at one point. You went to Rombe. What was the progression? Like, was there anything in specific that you did to allow yourself to kind of be established as a household name as you are now?
I guess the honest answer is I am the absolute example of someone who was in the right place at the right time, and I grabbed it.
Yeah.
I'm very unstrategic. I don't think I would get anywhere today.
Oh, really?
I think young people working in the arts have to answer so many questions about who they're aiming at. Strider was they were so astonished someone wanted to work with independently and we went around the country going in art galleries, in gyms, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so the Arts Council gave us money, which was wonderful. Not a lot, but they gave us money.
Yeah.
Then I was in New York having this wonderful time. Then when I came back, I taught for about 2 years. And then I put together some work at Riverside Studios, and then Rombe asked me, the Ballet Rombe it was called then.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, they've got a group of musicians now. I'm really beginning to understand I'd love to work with music.
Yeah.
Let's see how that feels. Let's see what happens. That's my motto again. So I went to Rombe for 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
I left. Things didn't quite work out, which is okay. And I suddenly, literally within a week, was asked back to my old school. A teacher in the school rang me and said, Richard, that's probably the last thing you want to do, but actually one of the teachers is injured. Would you, I know you're free, unfortunately.
Yes.
Would you teach at 8:45 in the morning? I went, yes.
Yes, because that's early. That's very early to teach.
8:45.
Oof.
But the great thing was, I taught at 8:45, and then I taught again 10:30 till whatever, and then the day was finished. And I'd go to the dressing room,
Yeah.
and I'd have so much adrenaline going. I really would feel like I'd taken something.
Wow. Wow,
And it
wow,
was
wow.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
I just found that incredible because I'd got back into it because at Rambert I did less and less moving and teaching because there were so many things to look at, like marketing and fundraising and programming and so on, which was all fine, fascinating, but it was lovely when I went back to the place that I could just move.
Yeah.
I've been incredibly lucky
Mm-hmm.
and not very clever. And I think these days people have to be very, very clever. I think you're very clever. I can see what you're doing.
Oh,
I can
thank
see
you.
how you're putting your work together, grabbing opportunities,
Yeah.
involving people in this, for instance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, being part of a community is really important.
It's essential.
So I really appreciate what I see now, and I appreciate how hard it is for people when the Arts Council seems to actually be geared up to say no.
Like, there are so many entries, which is to a large pot of money, but with the amount of people applying and for what they're applying for, it's very hard to spread that across. So I think this idea of grabbing the opportunities that feel right for you as well, because I think it's, even though you feel like you've not been strategic in the journey, I feel like you lent yourself to the opportunities that felt right. And even if, you know, I can imagine, I don't know how much you knew about like marketing and fundraising before walking into the post at Rambert, but, you know, would have taken that opportunity willing to learn on the job.
Well, there were the staff of people who did it there.
Yeah.
But in 1980, when I joined, Rambert was quite small and there was a sense of teamwork. I had a great time in the studio with the dancers, but then I would actually learn to work with the other people when I was just resident choreographer. I think the emphasis on agendas now I would find really difficult.
Right.
I just decided quite early on, began to realize it wasn't an intellectual decision, it was just an instinctive one.
Yeah.
That human beings dancing to music was at the root of the whole thing, and it would always, always be important.
Yeah.
I was given places to work where I could do that. I used to think of myself as like a mad scientist working in the lab, and coming out and saying, "I found it."
Yes,
you know.
this is it.
I
for
never
now.
had to worry about people, and then except in the theatre, I didn't worry about audiences. I welcomed them, and I learnt about them and learnt how to communicate with them, not pander to them, but actually. In the first part of my career with Strider, it was all quite abstract, and we were always in different spaces and things. Then, of course, right at the beginning, I made pieces for London Contemporary.
Yes.
And in London Contemporary, I would always be the one in the middle that was the tricky one.
Middle of the programme, you mean?
Middle of the programme. They'd
Like
do
a triple bill,
bills.
yeah.
They'd have a nice bright opener, Richard Alston in the middle, and then a yee-haw closer.
Right.
And I got used to that. And it was with Rambert slowly, especially when I became director, that I began to realise, almost by accident, I think I made a piece called Strong Language.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the audience screamed, and I thought, good heavens, I quite like that.
Oh, nice.
I remember thinking, you know, when I'm an artist, I'm the serious one.
Yeah.
Christopher Bruce would make these wonderful pieces about folk dance and people and whatever. And I'd be more abstract. And then when I made Strong Language, I realized that I could do what I was interested in. And I think the person I learnt that from, most importantly, was in the early days of her work, was Twyla.
Right.
Twyla had incredibly intricate structures. She had all sorts of, she studied counterpoint in music.
Yeah.
And she had all these structures and beautiful, beautiful complication. I love complex dance.
Yes.
And then she'd put it to Jelly Rolls. And then the Beach Boys. When I first arrived in New York, I saw this long dance that she'd made to the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
That was in 7th Avenue. At that time, was able to explore all the things that were complicated and important to her, but reach the audience by something which she also really enjoyed, which was actually popular music.
Yeah. I think it can be quite tricky nowadays in 2025 to make just work that you connect with, because there are, well, for application reasons as well, there's a whole bunch of different criteria that we now need to hit and qualify for. So I think it's a good reminder for those who are wanting to choreograph to continue to explore what they're genuinely interested in and see how to communicate that with an audience despite having all of these other maybe markers alongside the journey.
Yes.
You know, it's something I'm realizing myself. As a question I ask, I'm always like, what am I interested in? What is it about choreographing that is piquing my interest, piquing my curiosity that I'd like to share with people, and less about how is someone going to receive my work, because we can't control it, to be honest. There's always going to be people who love it and people who just think it's not for them.
But the funding bodies, one of the ways they seem to make decisions is always about an agenda. I feel myself to have been incredibly lucky to have been protected
Right.
from having to identify agendas.
Right.
Diversity in a company, I welcomed that. It was brought to my attention once by someone who I respected very much,
really?
saying,
Okay.
"You're in a national company. You've got a national company. Are you comfortable with the fact that most of them are white?" And I sort of went, "I've never really thought of that. I know that sounds naive, but I did think of that from then on, and not in a patronizing way at all. It was important to me, and as I said to you, I wanted different qualities of the dancers. But I've been incredibly, incredibly lucky, spoilt really, to have been able to work in Rambert and with my own company within the place, where the institution around me took care of the setting up of the work and the touring or this or whatever.
Yes.
And I could just make dance and began, especially with my own company, where I concentrated very much on two things that were very different. With Rambert, we had the budget to use design, and I would work with painters very often, not with the reformed company that was mine at the place. And so I decided to concentrate on music. And at that same time, Britain had joined the EEC.
Right.
And that may sound a strange thing to say, but what happened was that the European community said you could not have a closed shop. So the Musicians Union in Britain had to let go of certain things. Sometimes it almost closed companies, the cost of musicians, because they had to have everything live.
Yeah.
And so there was a piece that I made called Brisk Singing to Rameau. This was just like such an amazing moment for me in 97. I made it in 97. And I used great chunks of wonderful, wonderful Rameau opera. Some people, I mean, Mark Morris, for instance, is very purist. He wants the music to be live, all of it live.
Yep.
I'm not as purist as that. I think if there's a good recording and a beautiful performance, that can excite me just as much.
Yes. I
think of myself as a preserved, what are they called? A protected species.
A protected species.
Yes, I remember Sue said that to me once.
Oh, really?
Yes, she said, "Richard, you're a protected species."
Oh, wow.
Well, the protection suddenly disappeared sometimes, but that was okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we had the privilege, I guess, of like when we went to Oldborough, for example, usually there was live music and live musicians, because I mean, Oldborough as a place celebrates musicians a lot more. And
we had the pianist, we had the wonderful, wonderful pianist. He was amazing. Yeah.
It just brings another element to it, I think, sometimes in performing. I do slightly feel like musicians, especially even those who are playing for class, are being valued a little bit less in terms of priority because of the cost or whatever the reason. And it's such a shame, because if I'm teaching and I've got a live musician, it's so exciting because there's an exchange between this person. As a dancer, you have so much more to play around with. I mean, at LCDS at the moment, we've got lots of percussionists. So you've got piano, you've got stuff that they're recording and they're looping, and there's all different types of stuff. And like, as a dancer, I know that was one of the things that got me through, because I also really connect to music.
It was simply, nobody even thought about it when I was a student and when I was a younger choreographer.
Yeah.
Of course, with Strider, we couldn't afford musicians, although we used to. I had a composer who I worked with, a woman called Anea Lockwood, and she used to make scores out of sounds of things like volcanoes and she made extraordinary soundscapes out of worldwide natural sounds. So it was being created for me, so it felt like there was some kind of live relationship there.
What do you miss the most about having your company?
Well, that's a difficult question. I miss you guys less than I thought I would because I see you.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to see you, Monique, and we
Yes.
worked together not
Not
few
that long
weeks
ago,
ago.
yeah.
And I work with other dancers, which I love doing,
Mm-hmm.
other dancers from the company. And so I look, especially during COVID, you know, the company closed, and 2 days later I was told I was over 70 and diabetic. You can't be in a school because the students, you know, if you get it, the students will catch it. So I was literally sent home.
Wow.
Got myself a computer because I didn't have one then. I used to rely on work.
Mm-hmm.
And Pierre Tapon, one of
Yeah.
the dancers who loves dealing with these things, he made me a hard drive
Yes.
of I don't know how many pieces,
Mm-hmm.
quite a few. And so in COVID, I sat down and looked at my work. For all the years I choreographed, however confident I should have been, I never really was. And every time, if I made a piece, the audience seemed to like that, and the dancers do it beautifully, and it's nice, isn't it? But the next one could be better. Weeks later, I'd start making another dance and go on with it, and then sometimes I think, no, that didn't work, or it did not work. For God's sake, let's make a better one.
Okay.
And so then, in COVID, it was an amazing opportunity to look at all these videos and say, I hadn't realized how good that was, that piece. Nomadic, for instance, is a piece I'd really love to look at again.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it on the video and thought, it was the music was very interesting. It was Romanian gypsies, Roma gypsies, but much darker than Gypsy Mixture. Gypsy Mixture is one of the happiest dances I ever made.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that. I love that. I'm very happy with that.
It's very fun to dance.
Yeah.
It's very fun to dance.
It made me realize, actually, I can't say I regret it because I'm sort of rather dedicated to the principle you shouldn't regret anything unless you've hurt somebody.
Right.
Otherwise, regret, no, it's best to actually move on and think about how you can make life better and so on.
Yeah.
So I would look at some pieces and think, I remember when we first went to Sadler's Wells, I thought I had to make something very special. I tried far too hard.
Right.
And
when was this?
Somewhere around about 2000, 2001 or something. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But gradually, over the years, I somehow, deep inside, become clearer and clearer about what matters to me. And when people who are interested in choreography say to me, what would you, I'm just starting out, what would you advise me?
Yeah.
I would say to them, look, what I did was realize what I believed in. And then no one was going to actually deviate me from that. If people said you should really be making dances about political issues, so I'm not really good at that. What I'm good at is working with human beings.
Yeah.
It's working with human beings, so it is about humanity.
Yeah.
So I always say, whatever someone asks of you, whatever I can remember discovering there was this thing called a target audience.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never thought of a target audience. There was an audience.
Oh, really?
No,
yeah.
I never had to.
Okay.
As Sue Davis said, I have been a protected species.
I understand what you mean more now, yeah.
I don't think I was arrogant about it and didn't pay attention.
Yeah, because you had quite a loyal audience.
Yes.
Actually, both UK and US in particular.
Yes.
You know, had quite a high volume of returning people who would come specifically to see your company.
Yeah.
So there was defo knowledge about your
audience. What I loved about our audience in this country was that when I was still on the GCSE syllabus as well as the A-level, now it's just the A-level, there would be a large number of young people and they would always come up to the end of the performance and say, Mr. Alston, I'm studying you.
Yeah.
And I would always talk to them and so on. So why do you do that? I said, well, because Shakespeare's dead. If I'm living and they're looking after my work, that's terrific.
Yes.
So you should be generous, you know, and just say, I'm really glad that you're doing that. I hope it's not too much hard work and so on.
Right.
So that was one thing that I used to find interesting, always. And I love the fact that young people do my work. And they still do.
Yeah.
One of the things I really love, I love teachers. I love dance teachers because they are a race of heroes.
Right.
Because so many things have been curtailed, so many things taken off the syllabus, so many school activities limited and so on. And the fact that they put together dance clubs and whatever is amazing. And I also love the fact that when, for whatever reason, they reduced the number of works. They probably thought I'd been around for quite long enough, for heaven's sake. But they reduced the number of my works on the syllabus, and they made other choices. And now there's only 2 pieces of mine on the A-level syllabus.
Oh, do you know which pieces they are?
The 2 pieces are strong language and wildlife.
Ah,
They're on the A-level
Overdrive
syllabus.
isn't there anymore.
Well, no, but that's the point, you see. My
Oh.
point is that the teachers keep teaching it.
Yeah. It's a
They
classic.
basically say, sod that.
Oh, really?
Excuse my
Because-
language. But because that's why I speak about Chris Thompson so much, because he had this incredibly inventive idea of making a video that was more than just a record. It was
Yeah.
like a real asset to teachers. And because I was involved and we made supplementary videos to that, we made
Yeah.
a lot of videos of parts of Overdrive
Yeah.
where so this is the audience's point of view looking, and this is the performance point of view. We take it from behind, and I would talk it through. So there's a lot of information about my work around.
Yeah, there's loads.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, because obviously on your website, I know Pierre helped with the sort of like archiving-ish of the work that's there. But because it's so widely studied, I think there's so many different aspects of the work. I loosely remember something about our costumes being stored somewhere when we were closing. Are the costumes still available somewhere?
There are some of them being looked after by the place. We worked out with Sharon, who's the wardrobe supervisor of the place.
Yeah.
Would you be able to keep these ones just in case another company wanted them?
Right.
Then we didn't quite know what was going to happen, and then COVID also held the whole thing up.
Yeah.
And then actually Rambert School has a large number of them.
Oh, wow.
So when we just revived this spring a piece of mine called War Season Disorder I made in 1998,
Yeah.
some of the costumes were at the place. We found the other ones in the attic
Oh, really?
at Rambert because they had so many costumes, they'd put them somewhere they could store them.
Right.
So they looked through and they found them until we had a complete set of costumes.
Now, I do also want to ask a question about how you chose to tour with Alston Dance Company, because I haven't quite seen a touring schedule quite like that since I've left working with you, in the sense of we didn't really tend to do more than 3 shows maximum per venue. But I think the thing that in hindsight, I was like, I didn't realise how good we had it, is that after we'd finish a show or a venue, when we'd come back, we'd have the next day off. And then we'd come back into the studio. Was that like a really intentional choice? Is that just kind of how it worked out? But I've really been reflecting on it, and I haven't seen a touring schedule like that.
I've always been someone who thinks it's very exciting to challenge people,
Yeah.
to challenge dancers who obviously want to do more. And so I think it's equally important to let them rest.
Yeah.
And since I was in that sense very spoiled because I had funding at whatever level all the way through my time with Rambert,
Yeah.
and then from day one with my company,
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the things that rather annoyed the Arts Council, but as far as I was concerned, it was really important that people should work to a very high level,
Yeah.
and then they should not be asked to do 6 workshops the next day. They should actually, we travelled, and then we would have a day of rest,
Yeah.
particularly when we travelled abroad, because
Yes.
otherwise it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But it came out of a very good structure at Rambert. And when I was at Rambert, I left Rambert to go and work with a company in France.
Mm-hmm.
In France, of course, lunch is incredibly important.
Yes.
And so
Yes, it is.
the dance company I worked with had an hour for lunch.
Right.
And when I came back,
Mm.
I actually said, I think it's really marvellous. It meant that they were actually, they digested things and then they were ready to work again.
Yeah.
So it made the day more useful.
Yeah.
So I said with our company, we should have an hour for lunch.
So was an hour for lunch not a standard practice beforehand?
Um,
Or like not always?
Well, for instance, at Rambert, this is a long time ago, but the dancers, before I got there, had asked did they really have to work on a Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
And they had negotiated with the management saying, if we don't work on a Saturday, would you accept the fact that we will just have 3/4 an hour for lunch, so you're getting a quarter of an hour extra every day.
They condense their time down. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you see, I love the fact that actually it's not that the French are greedy, but they're very interested in things like digestion.
Yeah.
When I go abroad, I love working abroad. I love finding out what's going on in the culture in different countries and so on. So I came back from France thinking, good on the French.
Yeah.
And yes, let's have an hour for lunch. And let's have a day off after traveling. You never know.
Yes.
And then I also, you wouldn't probably know this, but when the company first started and with Rambert, you would be given a living allowance and you would find your own accommodation.
Ah, yeah.
And
That's
because
quite
we
common
didn't
now.
do full weeks, it was very hard to find good accommodation.
Yeah.
So I said to my administrator at the time, I think it was probably Janet Eager,
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, young dancers especially don't quite know what to do.
Yeah.
And they're hurting their backs because they're sleeping on ghastly beds in strange
places, yeah.
Some places won't take them because it's not a full week.
Yeah.
So I think we really have to maybe just make the living allowance slightly less and actually know that we can go to a Travelodge or a Premier Inn
and have that
be secure that there is a good bed.
Yeah.
So we are looking after these bodies.
Working with your company was my first experience of touring. So I think going in, I was like, oh, this is the standard. And I quickly realised once the company closed and we moved on, I was like, this is not applied elsewhere. Whether it's smaller projects, if it's 3 months or 6 months, or if it's longer, larger touring things. And I always reflect back, I was like, oh my gosh, why did we not get injured as much when we danced for you? Because we had full on triple bills. Pieces were like 25 to 30 minutes, unless we did the sort of, I call it like the medley, when we had bits of proverbs and we had mazur and we had all of those different elements. And it's full out. It's very physical. It's technically demanding. It required us to be really on top form. And I remember thinking, why were we never so injured? And then now I realise it's because we actually had time to rest. In between.
We had also, at one point I was questioned by the Arts Council early on, why do you have such a large medical bill?
Right.
And I said, well, because I don't want the dancers to be injured. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let go of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to risk the dancers. A dancer's career is so short anyway.
That's true.
And so then we were incredibly lucky to make a relationship with Peter Dunleavy,
Yeah.
who had been a dancer, was an incredibly skillful man with wonderful knowledge about dancing. And so we developed this system that he would come in like every 6 weeks and sometimes watch class and see anyone who had any niggling troubles, but he would also watch class. And so it was, prevention is so important.
Absolutely.
It came about through, I remember this amazing moment years ago when Olympic doctors, sports doctors for the Olympics, suddenly said to each other, we could apply this to other things and it could very easily be applied to dancers.
Right.
And so they they wrote this book called The Healthier Dancer. And at that time they proposed things which took a long time to actually recognize. They said, oh, you shouldn't do 5 or 6 classes a week in the same technique.
Ah, interesting.
You should do fewer classes in a particular technique because ballet technique uses these muscles, Graham technique uses these muscles, Cunningham technique. And what you need is actually at least 2 or if not 3 days a week where you do fitness training, where actually you are being completely scientifically looked after.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that perspective, but I've heard variations on that, and I guess different schools at the moment are, and also different companies as well. I'm seeing more stuff online about like looking after the dancers, fitness classes being put into a company schedule. It's also something I've just been reflecting on loads, and so I was like, since you're here, I have to ask you, like, how intentional was that as a structure? Because I realized, I was like, it was so good because we had time to rest and recover.
When we were given the go-ahead to make an alternative to London Contemporary Dance Theatre, which was the large and very large budget company, which the Arts Council said, we can't go on with this. So they changed their relationship to the place. And there was this amazing man who came in as general manager, Graham Marchant. And he sat down with me and he said, Richard, I want to propose a budget to the Arts Council that enables us to be a role model of good practice.
Amazing.
It was much less money than London, about half what London Contemporary Dance Theatre had, but they were a much larger company, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But I thought, okay, so you need to be really responsible and not just accept this money, be
Yeah.
conscious of how to use it well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm learning as well in the beginning of this journey, and facilitating spaces and how to look after dancers,
Yes.
whilst also perhaps doing something that's quite rigorous or physical, and navigating that with much smaller budgets as well.
Yes.
But yeah, my time with you, I really, like, in reflection now, I can see how that schedule really set us up for
I was so
longevity.
proud of that. I was so proud of that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It was terribly important to me.
Yeah.
And because they wanted to reduce the grant, they kept saying you should have shorter contracts. And I was sitting down with Isabel, who looked after us then, saying,
Yeah.
so, okay, we could make it slightly shorter, but if we get to a certain point,
Yeah.
you're going to lose the consistency and people are going to hurt themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And or if it's, again, just a project, people will leave, and so you're all the time trying to find new dancers.
Yes.
And it's the continuity of that company, which I remember with love. I remember it was real love.
Yeah.
I remember what I loved.
Yes.
And I remember, and when I look at the videos of the work, there were sometimes over the 26 years, there were groups that were more mixed than others,
Yeah.
and sometimes I hadn't chosen the right person. And then, but very often, there was a wonderful feeling of ensemble, and with Martin and me and Antonio Franceschi teaching,
Oh, yes.
the level, I look back and I think that was good.
I think there was like an unspoken like thing between us as dancers. Like we knew we came into class, from my perspective at least, a sort of mutual respect for the space.
Yes.
Because there were all these other things that
Yes.
you had put in place and the company upheld that allowed us to feel respected in that way. Again, because it was my first professional experience, and you know, I was with you for four years. Yeah, an apprentice for 1 year and dancer for 3 years. This set the mark for what I understood. And in reflection now, I'm like, okay, this was actually very useful to learn at the time. Oh, there is a way in which, you know, a company can be managed in this way. The dancers have their own responsibility, but the company also uphold their own too.
A dancer who was with me for several years, and I was very fond of her. I thought she was terrific, and I still see her. She came back in the year after she'd left.
Yeah.
And the dancers said to me, Richard, it was Hannah Kidd.
Oh, yeah.
She said, Hannah's been telling us, don't leave.
Oh, really?
Don't leave. You don't understand how well looked after you are here. You go out there and you suddenly find that the conditions are completely different.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I was hugely thankful to her for that. And
Yeah.
it made me realize that, yes, it wasn't arrogant. It was because I really did not want to damage dancers.
Yeah.
Once Peter had set up that coming in, which he did for a long time, the injury level just went zhoosh down.
Wow. Okay.
And I know the same thing has now happened at the Royal Ballet. They now have a whole medical centre in the Opera House. They have an extraordinarily good team.
Yeah.
And this guy came in, the director, Kevin O'Hare, said to me, injury has gone just down.
Yeah, and then that's key to the longevity of a company, and also the mental well-being of the dancers in the space as well. So I also want to just draw our attention to like the landscape today, 2025. What do you think is maybe missing, or what could there be more of choreographically in the landscape in 2025? Because you've got a breadth of experience. You've seen many choreographers rise, established, you know, step into new directions. What do you think is missing in our landscape today?
When I started out, especially in contemporary dance, people didn't really know much about it. People didn't get to be particularly famous. You built on your relationship with what was in those days always the Arts Council, and you increased your funding through saying, yes, we could do more next year and all that kind of thing. Since then, I think there's much more pressure generally in life to be a success,
Right.
to be the next kid on the block,
Yeah.
to be whatever. And as that has happened, certain choreographers have become really amazingly successful. And sometimes I think I see young people starting out being influenced by those figures in a way that you're seeing not as strong a version of something that's very similar to their work.
Oh, I see.
And I think the difficult thing at the moment is to find your own language. To find your own language, because it's diversity in all aspects, not just about different races and things, but diversity in terms of a range of things happening in the theatre. It's become so broad that sometimes you go and you see, I thought I saw that last week. You know?
Right. Yeah. I guess there are a lot of strong influences choreographically in the scene.
Yes.
It's hard not to be influenced by that, because that's the majority of what we're seeing on stages, on digital platforms. And what's one way you think someone could go about developing their own language? Also quite a tricky question, I think. But just in case anyone is an aspiring choreographer and journeying.
Yes. Okay. I can't really kind of give you a kit or a little kind of career device. But one of the reasons I think I was so lucky was because when I started, you could get on with what you were doing quietly. It's the same with the kind of flurry of media in all aspects of life now.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's this person's a hit in this musical, or this person, we haven't seen, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you're thrown into the limelight. And then suddenly you're under huge pressure. One of the things that I learnt from watching the amazing Margot Fonteyn was realizing that she had taken years to get to where I was seeing her dance. She had become a real artist. She had certain extraordinary features. She had this incredibly beautiful face, and she was surrounded by this kind of rather old-fashioned sense of protection and development, and therefore she had a great sense of duty.
Right.
So she came about quite slowly. Quite slowly. And I think if we saw films of her when she was really young, we'd probably be very shocked.
Oh, really?
Probably couldn't do a lot. As a choreographer, I think it's very, very hard. It's very hard to get funding, so you have to tick all those boxes.
Yeah.
And if you have a success, then you have to do another success. And so I often think to myself, this is not being coy, it's being really honest, I'm not sure I would have survived.
In the landscape of today.
In this landscape.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have got very far.
My encouragement to other choreographers or those interested in choreography is to not be afraid of not being seen immediately. This is kind of how I feel, in the sense of I'm not rushing to be the next big.
Yes.
I feel very grateful to have had a lot of opportunities to create on schools, for example. I get a chance to explore what am I interested in? How does this translate to dancers from different backgrounds, different interests? You kind of get a chance to not necessarily make mistakes, but flesh out your own choreographic process, what you're interested in, without it being under such immense pressure, as you say, having to go out and kind of make a success immediately, which is something I find comfort in, being it's okay to not be seen right now while I'm being developed almost. And then, if the opportunity presents itself where it's slightly more high profile, then great. And if it doesn't, then there's also a legacy of work behind and people that we've interacted with.
I get a very strong sense that you think about it very clearly.
Oh, that's good.
I keep in touch with what you're doing, and I see things, and we come across each other, and I see things on YouTube even.
Yes.
And I think, okay, Monique's actually, and the fact that you actually did a period of work with Matthew Bourne, and that gave you performing experience, and so I think in a weird way you have found a way that I think you're clear about how you want to develop.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that it comes across like that.
There are other people who start very, very quickly, and then they're gone.
Yeah. What sort of legacy do you want to leave? Because there's so much more creativity in you, and I know you're doing some works in schools and in different spaces and things like that, and you have 60 years of amazing work for us to look back on. But yeah, what sort of legacy would you hope to continue to leave in the industry?
COVID sort of put a strange stop to my activity, and then illness that came out of COVID, and also COVID put the brakes on the fact that the Lincoln Center Library in New York wanted to take all the videos, over 1,000.
Wow.
And that's still in process. And there's a large archive about the company in the newly opened V&A in the East.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
That's good for people to know.
Yeah. And so, in a weird way, right at the moment, I would love to make work,
Yeah.
but I also love looking at work again. And
Yeah.
when that opportunity comes up with students and schools and things, and my dancers, including you
Yes.
and Pierre
Yeah.
and Chris Tudor, who was in the original company.
Yeah.
And the other piece of advice I give to young choreographers when
Yeah.
they say to me, what advice would you give me? I'd say, well, I'll tell you what, be nice to your dancers.
Underlined.
Look after your dancers, because let me tell you, later in life, they're all looking after me.
Yeah. Oh, that's an amazing place to round off on. And it's so true, because you can call on so many of us, and we would come back, like doing the solo from Fever after 5 years of not dancing it. I was more than happy to just come back and dance that again. So I think that's an amazing message to land on for this interview. I just want to say a massive thank you, Richard, for coming on, sharing your wisdom, sharing your journey, giving people more an insight into what you're up to now, and also advice for the next generation. It's it's a very long legacy that you've left in the industry, and hopefully there's more and more that will be fueled into that. So big thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You asked very good questions.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that.
It was very easy to answer. Yeah.
Good. No,
I
I'll
can talk
take
the
it.
handler for a donkey, so I apologise. I'm sorry.
Don't be silly. No, there's always, it's good to leave people hopefully wanting more or having more questions for you the next time that they see you in person. But also it means that we can allow you online to just comment, leave your thoughts. If you have any additional questions, do just let us know, or head to our website, www.jonadance.com. It's been a pleasure having you on, Richard. So thank you again. Hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.